Welcome to Lento English. Ready to level up your English? Here we learn through stories, slow, clear, and fun. Listen, relax, and enjoy the journey.
One introduction. Imagine waking up in a beautiful place. Maybe there is snow outside or the sun is bright. This is Scandinavia. Many people think life here is very good. They hear it is a place with happy people and beautiful nature. Scandinavia is in Northern Europe and includes 3 countries, Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. People often talk about the good life in these countries. They think of peace and a good society. But then they see the prices. Even for small things, the cost is high. Imagine you buy a cup of coffee in a cafe. The price might be much higher than you expect. Or you buy a simple sandwich for lunch. It costs a lot of money. This is a big surprise for many visitors. Scandinavia is known as one of the most expensive regions in the world. It is expensive to live here and it is expensive to visit. Prices are high for almost everything you need or want. Think about shopping for food. The prices for food and drinks are much higher than in many other European countries. Buying clothes also costs more. If you want to buy something bigger, like a car or a television, the price is very high. Taxes make these things cost even more. Everyday items are expensive. A simple meal at a restaurant costs a lot of money. Going out for a drink with friends is very pricey. Buying things for your home costs more too. It seems like everything you need has a high price tag in Scandinavia. This high cost is a big part of life in Scandinavia. People who live there know this. Visitors quickly learn it. It is not just 1 or 2 things that are expensive. It is many things. Food, transport, entertainment, clothes, they all cost more than in many other places. So why is Scandinavia so expensive? This is the main question this book will try to answer. We will look at the reasons behind the high prices. We will learn about how the countries work, how they get money, and what people get in return for the money they pay. This first chapter is an introduction. It shows you the beautiful picture of Scandinavia, but it also shows the high prices. It makes us think about the cost of living and visiting there. It sets the stage for understanding why Scandinavia is one of the most expensive regions in the world. We will learn more in the next chapters. 2. Things cost a lot. Things in Scandinavian countries can cost a lot of money. This is true for many everyday items that people buy often. When you go to the shop, food and drinks are often expensive. Buying groceries costs more money compared to many other places in Europe. Simple things like pastries from a bakery or clothing like a warm sweater or a knitted top also have high prices. Even going out for a drink is expensive. For example, buying a beer or a glass of wine can cost much more than the average price in other European countries. If you want to buy bigger things like electronics or a vehicle, the price is also very high. For example, buying a television costs a lot of money. Buying a car costs even more. There are extra taxes that you must pay when you buy a car. These taxes are very high. In one Scandinavian country, the tax on a car can be between 85% and 150% of the car's original price. This large tax makes cars very, very expensive to buy for people living there or moving there. Another important tax that makes things expensive is the sales tax. This tax is called VAT. In Scandinavia, the usual VAT rate is very high. It is 25%. This is one of the highest standard sales tax rates in all of Europe. Only one other country in Europe has a higher sales tax rate than this 25%. Let's think about buying a sweater again to see how this tax works. If you buy a sweater for 300 krona, a big part of that money does not stay with the shop. 25% of the price is the VAT. This 25% goes to the government. So, out of 300 krona, 75 krona is tax that the shop must send to the government. This high sales tax is added to the price of almost everything you buy, including clothes, most food items, and many other goods. Because of these high taxes and other costs for businesses, prices in Scandinavian countries are generally much higher than in many other countries around the world. From small everyday things you need like food to big purchases like a car, you often need to pay a lot of money. Businesses and shop owners need to charge these high prices. They must cover their costs, pay high taxes, and still have some money left to run their business. So many things you buy in Scandinavia cost a lot more than you might expect if you come from a different country. This difference in prices is something that people notice quickly when they are there, making the cost of living quite high. 3. Paying lots of tax. People who live and work in these countries pay a lot of tax. A big part of the money they earn from their jobs goes to the government. This is called income tax. Imagine you earn 100 krona. In some places like Sweden, people who earn more money pay a very high percentage of it in tax. The highest tax rate can be more than 60%. This means that from that 100 krona, more than 60 krona can go to the government. In Denmark, the highest rate is more than 55%. These tax rates are much higher than in many other countries around the world. So people have less of their salary left to spend or save after they pay income tax. Companies that do business here also pay high taxes. They pay tax on the money they make, called company tax or corporate tax. For example, in Denmark, companies pay about 22% of their profit to the government. But that is not the only tax they pay. There are other taxes too. Because companies have to pay many taxes, they need to get more money when they sell their products or services. This is why the prices you see in the shops are high. When a shop sells something, the price must be high enough to cover the cost of making it, all the different taxes the company pays, and still leave some money for the company to make a profit. Let's think about a simple example like buying a sweater. Imagine it costs 300 krona in a shop. This price includes different taxes that the government collects. First, there is the sales tax, which is often 25% of the price in these countries. This 25% of 300 krona is 75 krona. This 75 krona goes straight to the government. So, from the 300 krona you pay, the shop only keeps the remaining 225 krona after the sales tax is taken. But the shop has more taxes to pay from the money it keeps. It pays company tax on its profit, which we said is about 22% in Denmark. It also pays taxes on the money it pays its workers. This is called payroll tax, and it can be quite high. The shop also pays taxes on its costs, like the money for rent for the building, electricity to keep the lights on, and services like cleaning. All these taxes add up for the business. For the shop owner to make any money after paying for the sweater itself, paying all these different taxes, and covering other costs like rent and salaries, they must sell the sweater for a high price. So when you buy almost anything in these countries, a large part of the price you pay is tax that goes to the government. This system of high taxes for both people and businesses is a main reason why things are expensive here compared to many other places. It is a key part of the economy in these countries. 4. Why are taxes high? In the last chapter, we learned that people and companies in these countries pay a lot of tax. This makes many things expensive. But why are the taxes so high? There is a main reason for this. The government collects this tax money. It does not just keep it. The money is used for many important things that everyone in the country can use. These things are called public services. Think about hospitals. If you are sick, you need a hospital. In many places, you have to pay a lot of money to go to a hospital. But in countries with high taxes, the government uses tax money to pay for hospitals. So people do not pay directly when they are sick. The same is true for schools. Education is very important. Tax money helps pay for schools so that children can learn. This means that parents do not always pay for their children to go to school. Other things paid for by taxes can include help for people who are old or cannot work. Public transport, like buses and trains, often gets money from taxes. Childcare, which helps working parents, is also often paid for partly by taxes. This system, where the government uses a lot of tax money to provide many public services for everyone, is called a welfare state. It is a way for the country to take care of its people. The main goal of a welfare state is to support everyone. The idea is that if people pay a lot of tax, they get a lot of help and services back from the government. It is a way to make sure that everyone has access to important things like health care and education. These countries spend a large part of their money on these social programs and services. Because they spend so much, they need to collect a lot of money. This is why the taxes are high. They need the money to pay for all the services they give to the people. So the high taxes are not just to make things difficult. They are part of a system where people pay a lot and in return they get many services and support from the government. This system aims to help everyone in society. 5. Business and money. Running a business in Scandinavia can be challenging. Companies face many costs and taxes are a big part of these costs. When a customer buys something, a large percentage of the price does not stay with the business. It goes to the government as various taxes. This means that for a business to make any profit, they must set their prices quite high. If prices were low, the business would not earn enough money after paying taxes and other costs like rent and salaries. So the high prices you see in shops are partly because businesses need to cover their high costs, including taxes. For some companies, especially larger ones, the cost of operating in these countries can be a big burden. It can be difficult to compete with companies in countries where costs and taxes are much lower. Because of these difficulties, some well-known companies that started in Scandinavia have decided to change where their main business is located. For example, A very famous company that sells furniture around the world began in Sweden, but its main headquarters is now in a different country. This move happened partly because of the high taxes on companies in Sweden. This shows that the high financial demands can sometimes push businesses to look for cheaper places to operate from. However, there is another side to the financial picture. The countries in Scandinavia are known for being very stable. They have strong governments and societies. This stability is attractive to people who want to invest money. They see these countries as safe places to put their money. This trust helps to make the money used in these countries strong. The currencies, the Danish krona, the Swedish krona, and the Norwegian krona, often have a high value compared to other currencies in the world. A strong krona is good in some ways, but it also makes things more expensive for people visiting from abroad. Tourists exchange their own money, like dollars or euros, for krona. When the krona is strong, their money does not go as far. They get fewer krona for the same amount of their home currency. This means that everything they buy, a coffee, a meal, a souvenir, costs more when measured in their own money. The exchange rate is not favorable for visitors. So while the stability helps the currency, it adds to the high-cost experience for tourists. Businesses here must navigate these high costs and the effects of a strong currency on international visitors. 6. What people get. People pay a lot of tax in Scandinavian countries. This money goes to the government. But in return for these high taxes, people get many good things. These things help make life better and more secure for everyone in the country. One of the most important things people get is education. School is free for children from a young age. This includes primary school, secondary school, and often university or higher education. This means families do not have to worry about paying large amounts of money for their children's schooling. Every child and young person has the chance to study and learn. Free education helps people get good jobs in the future. It helps the country have many skilled workers, which is good for the economy. Childcare is also a service that people benefit from. For families with small children, finding good and affordable childcare is important. In these countries, childcare is usually not expensive for parents. The cost is often low because the government pays for a large part of it using tax money. This helps parents, especially mothers, go to work if they want to. It supports families and helps both parents have careers, which is good for equality. Public transport is another important benefit. Buses, trains, and trams often work very well and run on time in cities and between towns. People can travel around easily without needing to own a car. This public transport system is paid for by taxes. Using public transport is also good for the environment because fewer people use cars, which reduces pollution. Healthcare is free for everyone who lives in these countries. If someone is sick or has an accident, they can go to a doctor or a hospital and receive medical help. They do not need to pay money for the treatment or care. This includes visits to the doctor, hospital stays, and many different types of medical support. Knowing that health care is free gives people a strong feeling of safety and security. They do not have to worry about getting sick and not being able to pay for the help they need. These excellent services are a big part of life in Scandinavia. They are often called public services or the welfare state. The high taxes that people pay make these services possible. People give a large part of their income in taxes, and the government uses this money to provide education, childcare, transport, and health care for everyone living in the country. It means that even though everyday items in shops might be expensive, many essential services that people need throughout their lives are free or very cheap. This system helps to create a society where everyone has access to important support and opportunities. It helps to make sure that everyone has a basic level of support and a good quality of life, no matter how much money they earn. This is what people get for paying high taxes. 7. Happy people. Many people think about Scandinavia and ask, are the people happy? The answer is often yes. These countries are famous for being very happy places. They often appear at the top of lists that measure how happy people are around the world. This happiness is not just luck, it is connected to how society works there. Why are people in these countries often so happy? One big reason is the system they have. It is called a welfare system. This system helps people feel safe and secure in their lives. People know that the government uses taxes to provide important services for everyone. This means they worry less about some things that people in other countries might worry about. For example, people feel secure about their money. They know that if they lose their job, there is help for them. This is called job security and financial security. It means they do not feel afraid of difficult times. They know the system will support them. Another important thing is how money and things are shared. In Scandinavia, the difference between rich people and poor people is often smaller than in many other places. Money is distributed more fairly. This fair distribution helps many people have a good standard of living. They do not see extreme poverty next to great wealth. When people feel secure in their jobs and money, and when society feels fair, it makes them happier with their lives. They feel that their country cares about them. This feeling of safety and fairness contributes a lot to their overall life satisfaction. They feel good about living there. So, even though things cost a lot of money, people in Scandinavia often feel that the high prices are worth it. They think that paying high taxes and high prices gives them a high quality of life. They are happy with the way things are, or the status quo, because they feel safe, supported, and that society is fair to them. This is a key part of why they are often called some of the happiest people in the world. 8. Is it worth it? We have seen that in Scandinavia many things are expensive. The prices for everyday items are high. Taxes are also high for both people and businesses. This is different from many other countries. But life in Scandinavia can also be very good. People receive many benefits from the government. These benefits come from the high taxes that everyone pays. Education is free, and healthcare is also free for everyone. Childcare costs much less than in many other places. Public transport is good and works well. Because of these things, people feel secure. They know that the government helps them and their families. They do not worry as much about money for school or if they get sick. This feeling of security is a big part of life here. It makes people feel safe and supported by their society. Some people might think that paying so much money is not good, and it is true that not every service is perfect. Sometimes there can be problems like in any country. But for most people in Scandinavia, the system works well enough. They feel that the high prices and high taxes are worth it. They believe that the money they pay helps to create a good life for everyone. They see the high cost of living as the price for a society that takes care of its people. This leads to a high quality of life for many. People often feel happy and content. They trust their government and their community. They feel that wealth is shared in a fair way. So, we have looked at both sides. We have seen that things cost a lot of money, but we have also seen that people get many good things in return. The high prices help to pay for a system that supports everyone. For many people living there, this system and the life it provides are worth the cost. They feel that paying more leads to a better and safer life overall.